What up to the YouTubes? And today is the second episode of this target op that we're doing. And in the last episode, I showed you how to do it in Photoshop, which is basically just the object design, no animation whatsoever. And today we're gonna work in After Effects and just basically do some simple but yet very effective animation. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna open up After Effects. Once After Effects is opened up, we can see I just created a new composition. If you don't know how to do that, we go up to Composition, New Composition, and just set the settings to what I have. So now I have named my composition name as Target Orb, and set my width to 1920 by 1080p, which is basically an HD resolution, and background color is black, and the duration I was setting it to something shorter, but I said let me go with 7,29. So afterwards you just want to click OK, and then you basically have your composition set up. But now I'm just going to delete that because I don't really need that, and I have my target orb set up right here. So afterwards you just want to import your layers that you created in Photoshop. So basically what you can do, if you saved it as a PSD, you can just import that whole PSD over here, and as you can see I've done that. If you don't know how to do that, you just go up to File, Import File, and you just go to your PSD wherever you saved it, and you are sorted. So now that I have my PSD all in here, and you can see if I click on each individual layer, there's a small preview at the top of what each is, and I'm just gonna drag them all in. So I'm just gonna grab a whole lot of them and just bring them into the center. It should automatically snap on. You can zoom out for a better feel of it. You can just kind of find the center there, and basically it just looks so like rugged and so fine, and we don't want that because it doesn't look studio quality. You just want some soft edges, very nice flow of each thing, and a lot of detail happening, and that's basically what we're going to show. So now that our stuff is imported basically into our composition, what we're going to do is just change the stuff around a bit, just make sure everything is in the right order and where everything's supposed to be, so later on in the stage where we can just not have any confusion, we know where our parts are. So basically our first layer here is our ring, so I'm just gonna move this to the bottom, and then we need to find, that's the inner ring which goes to the top. The spokes go all the way to the bottom. Oh yeah, and these stay at the top. Make sure the first one, which is the vertical target alignment, is on the top, and then the second one obviously is below that. So there's a quick just setting up, and we're just gonna rename these to, I'm gonna rename this to spokes. Ooh, bad spelling. And I'm just gonna carry on renaming this, and I'll be back. As you can see, I just renamed these, and it's basically just very simple spokes, main ring, inner circle, and we basically have our horizontal target. I named it as hori target, and vertical target, which I named as vert target. Now what I want to do at first, we're gonna work with these two targets because these are the main, basically the main part that just starts off our whole sequence of our intro. So I'm just gonna hold on Control and click both of these, and then right click and go to pre-compose. Once I do this, I'm just gonna rename this to target, make sure these two are selected, press OK. Basically it brings us into our target composition now. I don't want to confuse you, but basically it's the group. So it's basically grouped the two horizontal and vertical target alignments, and if you double click the group, it opens up them, and you can basically, what you can do is you can either cut these, copy these and bring them back in here, or you can do whatever with them, but we're going to group them to make it easy for us. And we're going to start off by just animating the vertical target to start off where the horizontal target is, and then come to its primary position where exactly how it's placed right now. So it's very easy, and I'm going to show you the steps. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the vert target, and we're just going to open this up, and you can see all its transformation tools. So a quick shortcut for that is pressing R for rotation. So at point, we're going to go to 0.14, just move this along. You can also use the keys up top here for precise movements, and I'm just going to hit the little clock button here and change this to 90 degrees. So basically we flip that, and at the first second we're just going to move this along to 1 second, and we're just going to type it in as a 0 to return back to its original position. So now we basically already got a small animation going here, and that's already done. We're already done with the target composition. So once we're done with that, we can just close it and we're back to our orb. So as you can see, we're just gonna play this along, and that's basically done for now. So now that we've done that, we're just gonna go to our next step, which is our main ring and the inner circle as well as the spokes. We're just gonna animate these all at one time. So as a quick thing to do over here is basically, I don't want to group these up. I just want to group just the two, inner circle and main ring, and leave the spokes by itself, because the spokes is going to be rotating at an opposite angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the inner circle and the main ring, right click it and go to pre-compose, and we're going to type in let's call it ring components or ring comp. That should be fine. Afterwards we basically just got our ring components in here, and I'm going to show you how to animate this along. So now that that we've set up this, I'm just going to open up these, and as you know, I just told you these are your transformation tools, and the quick shortcut for adding the scale, because we're going to make this come in from very small to the actual size of 100%. So for the inner circle, I'm just going to hit S, so it brings up the scale, and the main ring I'm just going to hit S on my keyboard, and it basically brings up the scale. As you can see, you can just change the scale of these if we just click on them and just drag our arrows. I'm just going to undo these quick, and basically at 0.27 seconds, this is round about here, I'm just going to bring in hit the clock buttons here and set these to 0, and at about, we're just going to make it come in really quick, so about, let's say 5 seconds afterwards, or 1 minute and 1 second and 4 milliseconds, we're going to make it come to 100%. Very basic, very basic. And basically what we have is just a quick as it comes in pops up. So what we're left with so far right now is, as this comes in, as it just tips to the very top of the target alignment, this starts to come in, and then we sort it. Now we're going to start doing the rotation of the main the ring comp. I'm just going to open this up, and the rotation is going to work with basically I'm going to go over the inner circle quick, and hit R for rotation, and go over the main ring and hit R for rotation. So at the beginning here, we're just gonna go hit our clocks again. This basically tells the program that an animation is starting, and to just basically start keying off the inputs. So at 0, we're gonna leave it at 0, and then we're gonna go nudge over to about 2 seconds, and yeah, that's fine, 2 seconds and 3 milliseconds. And we're gonna go click to 150 degrees, and we're gonna go here to 150 as well. Afterwards, this one we're just gonna take to the end. The inner circle is gonna stay a constant movement, while the main ring has a bit of a change along the way. So the inner circle, I'm just gonna take it to the end, and I'm gonna double click it and just delete this, add that 0 degrees and 2 resolutions. So basically what's going to happen so far is it rotates, and this one keeps on going as normal, but the main ring at the end is going to rotate 4 times. So here we're going to say 4. We don't have to double click it, we can just go here as rotations, and I'm going to show you what's going to happen. It's going to come along. It already comes in with the scale rotating, so it's kind of a cool effect, and it's going to start rotating faster, while the inner ring is just going to stay a constant flow. So now that we've done with that, I'm just going to close this comp up here, and what we have so far comes in, starts rotating. Very cool, very neat. Nothing of the prestigious kind of look yet, but we're going to get to that. Now we're going to go over to our spokes. So our spokes, I'm just going to open up both of these at the same time, and we're going to basically make it come in as soon as the inner circle and the main ring comp comes in as well. So at about 0.27 seconds, we're going to change the scale now. We're just going to hit the little clock button and change it to 0, and then at the last one, which was the ring comp, it comes in at about 0 or 1.4, basically, yeah, 1.4. So I'm just gonna go back here to the target orb comp, and over here we're just gonna set it to 100. So now what we're left with is it all comes in very nicely and comes in at the same time. But now we have to configure a rotation for these spokes. So we're gonna make it rotate the opposite way that the the ring comp is coming in. So I'm just gonna go to the start, then hit the rotation clock button, and at the end we're just gonna go to the end, and then change the value here to -2, so it spins the opposite way around. So now basically what we're left with is comes in, spins the opposite way, and yeah. So we basically got that out, the way, and now we're just gonna come in with our effects and make it come in smoothly and all effects with the motion blur and all of that stuff, and we're gonna make it look pretty. So the effects we're gonna add here, I'm just gonna right click the spokes, the target, and I'm just gonna basically just wanna solo out the target. So I'm not gonna work on any of these yet. I'm just gonna go just the target. So hit the solo button, which is here, and we basically only see what is clicked on. So I'm just gonna click the target, and I want to add some kind of blur to this. So I'm just gonna add in go to toggle switches right here, and make sure this is clicked for motion blur, and I'm just gonna enable it for every single layer. So now that we have that done, it doesn't really create any motion blur, so we're gonna kind of force the motion blur. So basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna go right click the target, effect, go down to time, and CC force motion blur. It's the first one. And if you look at your controls, I'm not sure where your pops up, but this is a default setting for it, so it should pop up on your left here. And we're just gonna increase the motion blur to about 32. Oh, that's a bit too much. Yeah, 32 is perfect. And the shutter angle, basically what happens here, as you can see, is already having a slight fade on the sides and stuff because of the motion blur, but we want a bit more than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn on the native motion blur on, and we're going to just bump up the shutter angle to about, let's say, 550. So as you can see, it comes in like almost like a fan kind of thing, and we have basically that much set out, and the horizontal kind of target doesn't do much. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that around now. But what we're going to do first, we're going to right click it, go to effect, and we're just going to go to blur and sharpen, and go for a radial blur, which is CC radial blur. So now as you can see, this is set up. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to set the type to scratch, which we don't want it to be rotate, because basically what that does, as you can see, if I bump up this amount, is it kind of just leaves it at one point, if you see what I mean. It doesn't look like it's straight on and stuff, so we're just gonna go to scratch, and as you can see, it's pretty much centered, and when it comes in, it looks like the whole thing is kind of spinning instead of just one, and it adds quite a cool effect to it. So we're gonna go with the settings of 3, and we're just gonna bump up the quality to 100%. And as you can see, it's looking much better as it comes in, spins, and when it reaches the end, I want basically the radial blur to stop, otherwise it keeps on looking like it's moving, but when it's actually really not. So at about here, we're just gonna go to transform. We're gonna go to target, effects, radial blur, and at the end, it's gonna bring this, set the little key here, the stopwatch, and we're gonna bring it to the end here. And when it reaches this point, it'll go to 0. Oh, that minus, that's gonna be a bit bad. And so what happens here, as you can see, if I render this out, let me just pause this while it renders. Okay, so after this is done rendering, as you can see, what happens is it just comes in slowly. It's a nice kind of looking kind of thing. Actually, it's not in real time, so I'm just gonna ramp you it for you. And you can see it just comes in and then fades out again, which is basically very cool effect. And what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to our main ring comp. So we don't really want to edit the whole comp because each of the rings is going to have a different kind of effect. So we're just going to untick the solo button for the target and just solo out the ring comp. And I'm going to double click the ring comp and I'm going to go into the main ring, which is the outer ring, and solo that. So now we're just looking at the outer ring, and what we're going to do is we're going to right click it, go to effect, add a force motion blur. Where are we? Time, force motion blur, and we're going to set the settings to around about 32 and the shutter to about 550 again. So as you can see, as it comes in, if I just hit the native on and just turn these on quick, you can see that if it comes in here, it comes in with a kind of a motion blur right there, and it just really looks much better. And what we're gonna do for that, we're just gonna leave it as that. That's it. That's all we're gonna do for the main ring, and we're just gonna go to the inner circle and just solo that out. We're gonna right click, go to effect, do the same thing for it, 32, and the shutter angle of about 550, turn that on, and we basically got this one done as well. So now this needs a bit more because it's looking a bit too plain kind of thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna right click, go to effect, go to blur, and go to radial blur. So now that we have that, we're just going to change the amount to 19ish, maybe a little bit less, let's say 15, and the quality to 100%, and we got that done. So what we're looking at right now, if we just untick that, close the ring comp, go to our spokes, just push the whole thing in, when everything comes in, it's looking much better, just coming in with a lot of more flow, and etc. So now we have that done. We're gonna edit a bit more later, but for now we're just gonna go on and add the effects for the spokes. So the effects I want to add on the spokes is basically the force radial, the force blur, and just the normal radial blur, not the CC radial blur, because that just gives it a different kind of look, and I've tested it out on both, and the normal radial blur works better for the spokes, works better for smaller line components. So first of all, I'm going to go to CC force motion blur, and we're going to do the same settings again, 32 motion blur samples, and shutter would be about 550. Turn this on, and as you can see, it comes in with everything else, but it's still looking a bit strong. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the spokes, click it, and press T, which brings on our opacity settings. We're just going to bring this down to 40%. I'm not hitting the little clock arrow here. We're not timing anything or bringing anything or changing any value. It's going to stay at 40 the whole way. So it's just got a bit lighter. It's fading a bit more. And as well as the ring component, I'm just going to double click it, and in the inner circle, I'm also going to change it to 40. So as you can see, it looks much better. And we got our final comp. It's coming in pretty well. Everything's working out. So now that we have that, we're gonna go along with the spokes, right click, go to effect, and we're gonna go to radial blur. So once we have that, as you can see, it's already pushing this a lot more that we actually want to. So I'm gonna go and add the amount, just drop the amount a bit to, let's say, what's looking good here, let's say we'll go with the 4. The type, we're gonna go definitely with the spin, and the quality to anti-aliasing to high, so it has smoother edges and etc. Maybe we can drop this a bit more. Let's say I'm gonna go with like maybe 2.5 should be about okay. Maybe let's just go with 3. Okay, so we got that sorted. It's looking pretty good right now. Everything's coming in much better than it used to. And now we're just gonna go along and kill some of the glows and all of this stuff. So we added our effects, our motion effects, and now we're just gonna go to the target and we're gonna right click it, go to layer styles, and we're gonna go to outer glow, and it basically brings on this little layer thing, adds layer styles to the layer. And we're just gonna go to outer glow. The color we're gonna set it to white, and we're gonna kill some of this spread, let's say to about 15, 20ish. We'll go with 20, and we're gonna do the same with, we're just gonna click the outer glow, Control and C to copy, go to the ring comp and drop it in the same thing. So we're just gonna open the ring comp and we're gonna hit Control and V to paste it in. As you can see, we're just gonna edit it out a bit so it just goes much better with this kind of comp. Just gonna drop it to about we'll go with 15 and just drop the opacity to, let's say, 40%. So now it's actually looking much better. A little change can make a lot of big difference. So I'm just gonna render this out so you can. So as you can see, it's much better now. It's not playing in real time because I'm recording at the moment. It's just killing my graphics, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. Everything's coming in well. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna duplicate a layer and then add it to the middle of that circle just to add more of a detail and much more things going on. And then we're gonna get to the fun part. So now that we have that, I'm gonna just duplicate this ring comp. I'm gonna hit Control C and then Control V to just duplicate it. So now that I've duplicated it, what's basically gonna happen is I'm gonna just scale this down a bit. So it's gonna I'm just gonna hit S for scale, and I'm gonna go with a scale of I'm gonna kill it around here-ish, maybe there. This works pretty well. And I'm gonna rotate this to start off at about, it's gonna come in, as you can see, let this pop up a bit, and as it comes in at about, let's say, 2 seconds, it should come in. We're gonna hit the scale again, sorry. We're gonna go and click it to 0, and then it's gonna come in really quick. So let's say 3 milliseconds later, it's gonna go to 70% or 71. Just trying to line this up perfectly. 71 is looking pretty good, and we're just gonna hit R, and I'm gonna rotate this along so it just matches the other side, doesn't duplicate, almost looks like it's the same thing. So I'm just gonna go with 90 degrees, and what's gonna happen here, it's gonna start off with the 90 and just basically kind of flow into it. So I'm just gonna render this out quick. So as you can see, it'll just come in, and it'll come in as well, and it'll start flowing much faster. As you can see, as it comes in, it starts spinning much faster. So we are going to save this composition as, let's say, file, go up to file, go to save as, and as you can see, I already made one which was early on, so I'm just going to save it as final test for myself, and I've made sure I save that. And basically what's going to happen is, when I create a new composition, I'm going to make a new composition, I'm going to bring in a logo, and I'm going to make it transform as this smaller circle comes in. We're going to make it transform and basically come in with a bit of style, and then we're going to add another cool effect to it, which I'm going to show you later, and we are going to make it fade out. Okay, so now you can see that I'm in Photoshop, and I don't know if you can hear my voice, but I'm pretty sick, so that's why this tutorial is taking so long to be uploaded. It's part 2. So what we're going to do is, this logo in front of me is basically a VDA logo that I've created like about a minute ago. So what I'm going to do with it is basically what you're going to do with your logo for the intro. I'm basically going to split this up into 2 pieces, and then afterwards bring it into After Effects and then animate it on as it like kind of builds together kind of thing. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But afterwards I'm just going to duplicate these and cut them up into 2 pieces, and then I'm going to take it into After Effects, and then we're going to animate it on, and then we're basically done here. So what we're going to do is I got my layer here. Doesn't matter how big it is, preferably this big, it would be nice. The page setup is a 1080p setup like I always use. I'm just going to bring in my guides. As you can see, it's already set in. So I'm just going to center these out again, and I'm going to take my rectangular marquee tool, select my layer, and just make sure you just have that square in, and then just click the middle here and just make sure you have that square in there. I hold down shift and go for the other one. I forgot to do that, but you know. And then hold down control and control X, which is to cut it, and then control V to paste it back in. As you can see that I've just done that, and looking at, just need to center this out a bit, and it's looking pretty good. So you center it out a bit more, and in turn just have to jiggle this on a bit. There we go, perfect. So now don't worry about those lines, they just always show up as a glitch, but we basically have this logo in front of us. So now I can easily just like kind of take this logo on in After Effects and then duplicate it, make it change around, spin around a couple of times, it'll look pretty slick. So now I'm just going to take off my background layer and save this individually. So I'm just going to crop these out real quick. That should be about right there. That should be about right. And we're going to crop this out as, let's say, copy PNG logo 1, and then I'm going to bring in logo 2, make sure the other one is unticked, logo 2. So we got both sides, so we got this side and that side. So now I can just close up Photoshop because I'm G, and basically open After Effects. Okay, so basically in my composition here, I'm in After Effects and I have my project in front of me. So I'm just going to import both of my logo little thingies. So I'm just going to go up to File, Import, File, and just go to wherever I've saved it. Got a few files here, and I basically have these two. So once that's done, I can just bring them into my comp, as you can see, and then I'm just going to scale each one down here, just about yay big. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to bring them in. I'm just going to first pre-compose these so it's in a group, and I'm going to call it logo. Okay, so at the 2-second mark, at around about here, this is where basically the orb begins, the inner orb begins to come out. So basically the second one here, as you can see, it begins to pop out. So I'm just going to go back there. So I want it to pop out as well with the first one. So that's not a problem. But right now what I want to do is I want to animate this. So as you can see, I'm just going to leave it how it is here. Just open this out. Sorry. And over here, we basically just gonna go to scale, so just select both of these, and then hit S, and then we're just gonna block these down here. I selected both of them, so whatever I do to the top is just gonna happen to the second one. So I'm just gonna move this along to about here, and we'll say 41 over here, and then back down to here, which was about 15ish. We're gonna say 0. So basically it animates just bam, and it's on. So afterwards we're just gonna make it just mess it up a lot. So what's gonna happen is take 2. So we're gonna move along the circuit. Take 2. Okay, so we're gonna move along to like the second, like 2 seconds into this, and from the 2-second mark, what we're gonna do
we're basically just going to animate this on. So okay, let's just move it a bit more to say 210, and basically what we're going to do to logo 1 is just mess it up a bit. So I'm going to take the scale and I'm going to drop it down to about, let's say, what's going to look good here. I'll drop it down to about 31, and obviously for yours, your logo might be different, so you can just drop it onto whatever you want to do, but basically make a cool transition, just make it look legit. So from here, 210 it's gonna go to 31, and let me just go back to about 2 seconds. Well, actually make this 41, and it needs to happen very fast, so 5 milliseconds afterwards it's going to say 31%. So just straight up, very fast. And then we're going to make the top over here, as that happens, we're going to make that, this one here, rotate. So we're going to hit R for rotation. So we're just going to make it rotate 150 degrees, 180 degrees. So from here that's 0, and then we're just going to make this rotate along at about here. Just make sure you just mess it up a bit. Let's say 360, actually 180. I got a cool idea here. 180, and then from that one we're gonna make this one go smaller. So scale, and we're gonna say from 41. 5 seconds later, which is the 10 mark, we're gonna go to 31. So now that's small. That kind of looks like a new logo if you look at it. Looks pretty cool. So after that, what we're gonna do is from here we're gonna make this one go to 41 now. We're just gonna make another one, key it out there, and 5 seconds later, which is the 15, we're gonna make this one go to 41. And then from that we're gonna make this rotate now. I know it sounds like a lot, but it works out so good if you just like pay attention to this thing. And then just bring it along, let's say 5, and then we're gonna make this rotate to 180. Then from here we're gonna make this one go to 41. We're just actually gonna back to 31 there, and just make sure we have a key in so it doesn't move anything. And then 31, 5 seconds later, which is a 10, 41. And now we're just going to make both of them rotate back to normal. Let's key it out here. Actually, just make it go a bit forward. Make the keys, hit both of these, we're going to say 0, and then rotation here to 0. So what we have here is this cool thing we're doing. As you can see, it just did this like cool flippin', yay, look at it kind of thing. So that's basically what I was looking for. And now all we have to do is we just close this out actually, don't need anything else, and we're just gonna have to animate this on. That's looking pretty good. And I've made both these layers here, the orbs and the ring comp, fade out at the end. So as that fades out, does this whole cool thing here, back to the logo, and it'll fade out, and it'll just be the logo left, which is pretty cool. So I've done that because when this happens, we just want the logo at the end, and then all of a sudden Vertex Digital Art at the bottom comes out, and then that's your end of the intro, sorted. So we just have to make this come in at the right time. So around here-ish, I would say that kind of happens pretty good. If I just go to the comps that comes in, which is ring comp here, scale, just look for these and just mimic it. So from 0, I'm just going to set this to 0, scale this in quick, and then let's put that to what I wanted to, 41. Nope, nope, that's wrong, 100. There we go. And as you can see, it'll pop up with it. So bam, that looks pretty cool already. So now that's done, it'll do its whole thing there, but what you want to do here is just add some effects to it. So we're just going to make the stand out a bit more. So right click, layer styles, we're going to say outer glow, and the outer glow we're going to change it to like a bluish kind of color. What would work? Trying to figure out here. Let's find out. And then I just want to have a bit of drop shadow, if this is possible to do at the same time. I used to do it in Photoshop, but let's see. Just gonna make it spread a bit more, and it's working out. And what I want to add, we're just gonna make this, just close this up now that that's done. I want to just put this behind the target, as you can see. So the target, we're just going to add also a little blend effect of a drop shadow, and drop shadow here, the angle, the distance is 0. That should be about fine right there. That's fine. So the drop shadow is fine. We're going to go back to the logo quick, and we're going to go to the drop shadow again, change the distance to 0, and let's just kill this color a bit, just to make it like a kind of a lighter, kind of a blend of a color. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to leave it as that. So what we have here left is basically this just comes out, all this stuff happens, and we have our logo at the end. This stuff decides to fade out. The spokes at the end, I left it there because it kind of adds like a cool effect to it, and when it all fades out, which is about here-ish, I'm just going to add in text. So where's my text tool at the top here? I'm just going to put this in the middle somewhere around about there and type in Vertex Digital Arts. Nothing fancy. You can either go full art for that, but I'm just not gonna scale this down a bit. That's my way of doing it. Obviously you have to spend more time on these things, but I'm just doing it so I can show you, and you can obviously perfect it. So this will pop up at about here-ish. Make it fade in if you want to. Transformation. Put that there. Keyframe at 0. We'll just move that along and make it 100%. And we have just pops up. Well done. We have done. So what I wanted to do at last was to basically just add a cool background to it. I just have this gradient of a background, as you can see. I'm just going to scale this down quick. That should work. I'm just going to put it to the back here and create a mask for it. So we're going to go to mask. Just actually, you go to my circular tool here. Where are you? Ellipse tool. From the center, just pull out, hold on shift, and you can just get like a cool thing going on here, kind of like a halo. And then we're gonna go into my mask here and feather it out. Just feather it out like a whole lot. It's gonna take away that. Let's drop it a bit more. And we should bump up the opacity here. Maybe drop it a bit. It might just be barely seen. So that's looking pretty good. And afterwards we are basically done here. So our final comp, if I render this out, so it'll basically look pretty sick as if I played from the start here. Come in all cool and stuff, do this whole transition, and we're left with the VDA at the end. So you can obviously, I've just done this really fast because it's a tutorial. I don't want to work on this too long and make you guys wait. I just want to show you the basic steps on how to do it. But honestly, in all respect, it takes time to do these things. It takes like a lot of time to just sit down and just perfect each thing. This is done very fast, so it's not perfected. I can go in and go perfect all of this stuff and it'll look amazing, but I mean it really comes down to your actually patience and your correcting of each thing and your timing and stuff. And I wish you luck in doing this. This is actually a very good skill thing to learn. It opens up a lot more parts for you to learn and like basically create your own stuff. But the reason why I do these tutorials is to make you learn more kind of in ways to do stuff. So I hope you learn a lot from this, and thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and if you need help, please comment. It'll mean a lot to us. We will definitely help you. And the subscription, me and Oyo work a lot of hours on our tutorials and stuff, and we're sorry for the wait because of the New Year's time and festive season and me being sick. So thank you for watching this, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe.